Today's topic is brick, building materials, brick. Proposed syllabus: bricks, aggregates, lime, cement, concrete. Books: building materials, Rangala, building material construction, BC Purnima, building construction and foundation engineering, Jhayan Sinha, concrete technology, MS Shetty, building material, SK Dukkan, building materials, PC Vargasi. First, brick. Constituents of good brick earth. Bricks are the most commonly used construction material. Bricks are prepared by molding clay in rectangular blocks of uniform size, then drying and burning these blocks in order to get a good quality brick. The brick earth should contain the following constituents: silica, alumina, lime, iron oxide, magnesia. Next slide. Silica. Brick and earth should contain about 50% silica. It is responsible for preventing cracking, shrinking, and wrapping of raw bricks. It also affects the durability of bricks. If present in excess, then it restores the cohesion between particles and the brick becomes a brittle. Alumina. Good brick earth should contain about 20% to 30% of alumina. It is responsible for plasticity characteristics of earth, which is important in molding operation. If present in excess, then the raw brick shrink and wrap during drying. Lime. The percentage of lime should be in the range of 5% to 10% in a good brick earth. It prevents shrinkage of bricks on drying. It causes silica in clay to melt on burning and thus helps to bind it. Excess of lime causes the brick to melt and brick loses its shapes. Iron oxide. A good brick earth should contain about 5 to 7% of iron oxide. It gives a red color to the bricks. It improves impermeability and durability. It gives strength and hardness. If present in excess, then the color of brick becomes dark blue or blackish. If the quantity of iron oxide is comparatively less, the brick becomes yellowish in color. Next, magnesia. Good brick earth should contain less small quantity of magnesia, about 1%. Magnesium in brick earth imparts yellow tint to the brick. It is responsible for reducing shrinkage. Excess of magnesia leads to the decay of bricks. You can check the link. Next slide. Harmful ingredients in brick. Below mentioned are some of the ingredients which are undesired in brick earth. First, lime. A small quantity of lime is required in brick earth, but if present in excess, it causes the brick to melt and hence brick loses its shape. If lime is present in form of lumps, then it is converted into brick lime after burning. The brick lime slacks and expands in presence of moisture, causing splitting of bricks into pieces. Iron pyrites. The presence of iron pyrites in brick earth causes the brick to get catalyzed and disintegrated during burning because of the oxidation of the iron pyrites. Pyrites discolorize the bricks. Alkalis. These are the exit in brick earth in the form of soda and potash. It acts as a flux in the kiln during burning and it causes brick to fuse, twist and wrap. Because of these, bricks are melted and they lose their shape. The alkalis remaining in bricks will absorb moisture from the atmosphere. When bricks are used in masonry, with the passage of time, the moisture get evaporated, leaving grey or white deposit on the wall surface known as acifluence. This white patch affects the appearance of the building structure. Pebbles. Pebbles of brick earth create problem during mixing operation of earth. It prevents uniform and through mixing of clay which result in weak and porous brick containing pebbles will not break into shape as per requirements. Vegetation and organic matter. The presence of vegetation and organic matter in brick earth assist in burning, but if such matter is not completely burned, the bricks become porous. This is due to the fact that the gases will be evaporated during the burning of the carbonaceous matter and it will result in the formation of small pores. Efflorescence in brick, stone in brick. Look at the picture. Next, manufacturing of bricks, important. In the process of manufacturing bricks, the following distinct operations are involved. Number 1, preparation of clay, molding, drying, burning. Each of the above operations of the manufacturing bricks will now be studied at length. Preparation of clay. The clay for brick is prepared in the following order. Number 1, unsoiling, digging, cleaning, weathering, blending, tempering. Next slide. TRA manufacturing process. Extraction, first extraction, then transport, then grinding, mixing, molding, drying. Traditional fired clay brick manufacturing process: clay extraction, transport, mixing, molding, drying, frying. Next slide. Digger, clay. Look at the picture. Sand plus water. Actually 48 to 72 hours. Temperature, high temperature 870 degrees C to 1300 degrees C. Molding chamber, then delivered. Packaging, then delivered. Next slide. Unsoiling. The top layer of the soil about 200 mm in depth is taken out, thrown away. The clay in topsoil is full of impurities and hence it is to be rejected for the purpose of preparing bricks. Digging. The clay is then dug out from the ground. It is spread on the level ground just a little deeper than the general level. The height of heaps of clay is about 600 mm to 1200 mm. Cleaning. The clay is obtained in the process of digging should be cleaned of stones, pebbles, vegetable matters. If these particles are in excess, the clay is to be washed and screened. Such a process naturally will improve to troublesome and expensive. Weathering. The clay is then exposed to atmosphere for softening and moulding. The period varies from few weeks to full season. Blending. The clay is made loose and any ingredient to be added to it is spread out at its top. The blending indicates intimate or harmonious mixing. It is carried out by taking a small amount of clay every time and turning it up and down in vertical direction. The blending makes clay fit for the next stage for tempering. Next slide, tempering. In the process of tempering, the clay is brought to a proper degree of hardness and it is made fit for the next operation of molding. Kindled or pressed under the feet of man or kettle. The tempering should be done exhaustively to obtain homogeneous mass of clay of uniform character. For manufacturing good bricks on a large scale, tempering is done in puck mill. A typical puck mill capable of tempering sufficient earth for a daily output of about 15,000 to 20,000 bricks. A puck mill consists of a conical iron tub with a cover at its top. It is fixed on a timber base which is made by fixing two wooden planks at right angle to each other. The bottom of tub is covered except for the hole to take out black earth. The diameter of puck mill at bottom is about 800 mm and that at top is about 1 meter. The provision is made in top cover to place clay inside the puck mill. A vertical shaft with horizontal arms is provided at center. Small ways shaft nibs to steel are fixed at arms. The long arms are fixed at vertical shaft to attach a pair of bolts. The ramp is provided to collect the packed clay. The height of puck mill is about 2 meters. Its depth below ground is 600 mm to 800 mm. Reason: the rise of the barrow run and it throw out the tempered clay. Conventionally, in the beginning of the hole for packed clay is closed and the clay with water is placed in puck mill from the top. When vertical shaft is rotated by a pair of bullocks, the clay is thoroughly mixed up by the action of horizontal arms and nibs and homogeneous mass is formed. Next slide, a figure of a puck mill. Moist clay, animal driven beam, packed clay in the molding. The rotation of a vertical shaft can also be achieved by using steam, diesel or electrical power. When clay has been sufficiently packed, the hole at the bottom of the tub is opened out and packed earth is taken out from the ramp by barrow, that is a small cart with wheels for next operation of molding. The puck mill is then kept moving and the feeding of clay from top and taking out of packed clay from bottom are done simultaneously. If tempering is properly carried out, the good brick earth can then be rolled without breaking in small threads of 3 mm diameter. Molding. Next, the clay which is prepared as above is then sent for next operation of molding. Following are the two types of molding. First, hand molding. Second, machine molding. Hand molding. In hand molding, the bricks are molded by hand manually. It is adopted manpower is cheap and is really available of manufacturing process of brick on a small scale. The molds are rectangular boxes which are open at top and top. They may be of wood or steel. It should be prepared from well seasoned wood. The longer sides are kept slightly projecting to serve as handles. The tips of brass or steels are sometimes fixed on the edges of wooden molds to make them more durable. It is prepared from the combination of steel plate and channel. It may even be prepared from steel angles and plates. The thickness of steel mold is 6 mm. They is used for manufacturing bricks on a large scale. The steel molds are more durable than wooden one and turn out bricks of uniform size. The bricks shrink during drying and burning. Hence, the molds are therefore made larger than burnt bricks, 8 to 12%. The bricks are prepared by hand molding are two types: ground molded and table molded. Ground moldable bricks. The ground is first made level and fine sand is sprinkled over it. The mold is dipped in water and placed over the ground. The lump of tempered clay is taken and the dust is in the mold. The clay is pressed in the mold in such a way that it fills all the corners of mold. The surplus clay is removed by wooden strike or framed with wire. A strike is a piece of wood or metal with a sharp edge. It is to be dipped in water every time. The mold is then lifted up and raw brick is left on the ground. The mold is dipped in water and it is placed just near the previous brick to prepare another brick. The process is prepared till the ground is covered with raw bricks. The lower faces of ground molded bricks are rough and it is not possible to place frog on such bricks. A frog is marked depth about 10 mm to 20 mm, which is placed on raw brick during molding. It serves two purposes. Number one, it indicates the trade name of manufacturing. In brickwork, the bricks are laid with frog uppermost. It thus affords a key for a mortar when the next brick is placed over it. The ground molded bricks are better quality and with forks of their surface are made by using a pair of parallel boards and a wooden block. A plate is a piece of thin wood. The block is bigger than the mold and it has projection of about 6 mm height on its surface. The dimension of projection corresponds to internal dimension of mold. The design of impression of fork is made on this block. The wooden block is also known as molding block or stock board. The mold is placed to fit in the projection of wooden block and the clay is then dashed inside the mold. A plate is placed on the top and the whole thing is then turned upside down. The bricks are placed to stand on their longer sides in drying side sets and plate boards are brought back for using them again. As the bricks are laid on edge, they occupy space and they dry quicker and better. Figure 2.4 A projection for frog, molding block, mold, projection portion, molding block, projection for frog, section A and mold. Look at the picture. Next, table molded blocks. The process of molding of bricks is just similar as above, but in the case the mold stands near a table size 2 mm by 1 mm, 2 mm by 1 mm. The bricks are molded on the table and sent for the further process of drying. However, the efficiency of the molder gradually decreases because of standing at some place for a longer duration. The cost of brick is also increased when table molding is adopted. Machine molding. This type of molding is carried out by two processes. Number one, plastic clay machine, dry clay machine. Plastic clay machine. Such a machine consists of a rectangular opening having a length and width is equal to an ordinary bricks. The packed clay is placed in the machine and it comes out through the rectangular opening. These are cut into strips by their wire fixed at the frame. The arrangement is made in such a way that the strips thickness is equal to that of the bricks are obtained. So it is also called as wire cut bricks. The picture, sir. Dry clay machine molding. In this machine, the strong clay is finally converted into powdered form. A small quantity of water is then added to form stiff plastic paste. Such a paste is placed in mold and pressed by machine to form dry and well-shaped bricks. They do not require the process of drying. The damp bricks, if burned, are likely to be cracked and destroyed. Hence, the molded bricks are dried before they are taken for the next operation of burning. For the drying, the bricks are laid longitudinally in the stacks of wood equal to 2 bricks. A stack consists of 10 or 8 tiers. The bricks are laid along and across the stock in alternate layers. All the bricks are placed on edges. The bricks are allowed to dry until the bricks are become leather hard of the moisture content about 2%. Picture brick manufacturing. Burning. Bricks are burned at high temperature to gain the strength, durability, density and red color appearance. All the water is removed at the temperature of 650 degrees, but they are burnt at a temperature of about 1100 degrees because of the fusing of sand and lime takes place at this temperature, and chemical bonding takes between these materials after the temperature is cooled down, resulting in the hard and dense mass. Bricks are not burned over this temperature because it will result in the melting of the bricks and will result in a distorted shape and very hard mass. When cooled, which will not be workable while bricks can be burnt using the following methods: clamp burning, clean burning. Clamp is temporary structure generally constructed over the ground with a height of about 4 to 6 meters. It is employed when the demand of the bricks is lower scale, and when it is not a monsoon season. This is generally trapezoidal in plane, whose shorter edge among the parallel sides is below the ground and the surface rising constantly at about 50 degrees to reach the other parallel edge over the ground. A vertical brick and the mud wall is constructed at the lower edge to support the stack of the brick. First layer of fuel is laid as the bottommost layer with the coal, wood and other locally available material like cow dung and husks. Another layer of about 4 to 5 rows of bricks is laid, and again a fuel layer is laid over it. The thickness of the fuel layer goes on with the height of the clamp. After these alternate layers of the bricks and fuel. The top surface is covered with the mud so as to preserve the heat. Fire is ignited the bottom. Once fire is started, it is kept from fire by itself for 1 or 2 months, and same time period is needed for cooling of the bricks. Section AA, fuel rubrics. Disadvantage of clamp burning, important. Next slide. Bricks at the bottom are overburnt while at the top are underburnt. Bricks lose their shape and reason maybe they are descending downward once the fuel layer is burnt. This method cannot employ for the manufacturing of large number of bricks, and it is costly in terms of fuel because large amount of heat is wasted. Number 4, it cannot be employed in the monsoon season. Clean burning. Clean is a large over used for burning of bricks. Generally, coal and other locally available materials like wood, cow dung, etc. can be used as fuel. There are two types: intermittent cleans, continuous cleans. Figure of typical clean. Clean burning. The clean used for burning bricks may be underground. Example: Bull-Stange clean or overground is the Hoffman cleans. This may be rectangular, circular or oval in shape. When the process of burning bricks is continuous, the clean is known as continuous clean, is the Bull-Stange and Hoffman cleans. On the other hand, if the process of burning bricks is discontinuous, the clean is known as intermittent clean. Intermittent clean. The example of this type of overground rectangular clean is shown in figure 2.10. Intermittent clean. After loading the clean, it is fired, cooled and unloaded, and the next loading is done. Since the walls and the sides get cooled during reloading and are to be heated again during next firing, these are wastage of fuel. Continuous clean. The example of continuous clean are Hoffman cleans, the Bull-Stange clean. In a continuous clean, bricks are stacked in various chambers wherein the bricks undergo different treatments at the same time. When the bricks in one of the chambers is fired, the bricks in the next set of chambers are dried and preheated, while bricks in other set of chambers are loaded and in the last are cooled. Hoffman continuous cleans and Bull-Stange cleans. Hoffman cleans. It is continuous clean and has a permanent roof, as a result of which it can function even during rains. The first Hoffman cleans were in the form of a great circular ring chamber with massive walls and a large chimney at the center, to which underground radial flues converge from the inside walls of each of the 12 chambers. The chambers are barrel arched like a railway tunnel, and in the roof arch there were several small feed holes through which the fine coal could be fed into pieces made among the bricks to be fired. Around the outer wall or the clean were the 12 openings for loading and unloading the individual firing chambers. These chambers were separated from each other by every large metal dampers that could be raised and lowered as the fire moved around the clean form chamber. With the clean is full operation, 2 chambers will be open and the other 10 sealed up at the door and by the Interconnecting steel dampers. If the chambers are numbered from 1 to 12, then bricks are being unloaded from 2 and loaded in 1. The damper is closed between 1 and 12 but opens between all other chambers. Air is drawn through the open door of 2 and through the bricks in 3, 4, 5 and 6, cooling them down and the same time being heated itself. Chamber 7 is being fired with the fuel being fed at intervals through the roof, which is immediately ignited by the hot air from 6. The products of combustion pass on 8, 9, 10 and 11, drying and preheating the bricks in these chambers. The chamber being loaded and unloaded move forward in sequence, and this way heat is extracted from the cooling bricks and also from the hot combustion gases. The bull strange clean. The clean can be made circular or elliptical in shape. It is constructed on dry land by digging trench 6 to 9 meter wide and 2 to 2.5 meter deep and 100 to 150 m long. An alternative method is to build up the sides of the clean with bricks, especially where drainage is a problem. Gaps are left in the outer wall for easy access to the trench during setting and drawing of bricks. The green bricks to be fired and set in rows 2 or 3 bricks wide with holes in between that allow feeding or coal and sufficient flow of air through the setting, figure 2. On top of the bricks, 2 layers of bricks covered with ash or brick dust seal the setting. A large piece of canvas paper or metal sheet is placed vertically across the brick setting to block air from entering from the wrong side of the chimneys, figure 3. The trench contains 200 to 300 bricks at a time. The bull strange clean. A loading, 2 heating, 3 burning, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 4 cooling, 5 unloading, 6 emptying. It's a bull strange clean figure. Look, 1 loading, 2 heating, 3 burning, 4 cooling, 5 unloading, 6 emptying. Bull strange clean. Next slide. Chimneys 6 to 10 meter high, made of sheet metal, are placed on top of the brick setting. They are moved around as the firing progresses, and they have to be light so that the firing crew can carry them. Wires attached to the top of the steel chimneys support them. The need for lightness and the cost of replacing the chimneys often have the effect that the height of the chimneys becomes too low. That means the exhaust temperature has to be higher in order to maintain sufficient draught, and chimneys are placed close to firing zone. Thereby less heat of the exhaust gases can be reutilized. Small circular bull strange kilns use only one chimney, whereas setting green bricks, movable chimneys, cooling, drawing, preheating zone, firing zone, stocking holes. The firing in bull strange kiln is continuous day and night. Green bricks are loaded and finished bricks are drawn at the time, all the time. The fuel saving is achieved by reusing part of the energy that is otherwise lost in intermittent kilns. The air for combustion is drawn through the already fired but still hot bricks. The cooling bricks transfer their heat to the combustion air, preheating it before it enters the firing zones. After combustion, the hot exhaust gases pass through the yet unfired bricks on their way to the chimneys. This preheats the bricks so less fuel is needed to bake the bricks to the maximum temperature. Once every 24 hours, the chimneys are moved forward 5 to 7 meter. Daily output is 15 to 25,000 bricks. Bull-Stange kiln consists of rectangular, circular or oval plane shape. They are constructed below the ground level by excavating trench of the required width for the given capacity of brick manufacturing. This trench is divided generally in 12 chambers so that two numbers cycles of brick burning can take place at the same time for the larger production of the bricks, or it may happen that one cycle is carried out at one time in all the underground, so the heat is conserved to large extent, so it is more efficient. Once fire is like loading, unloading, cooling, burning, preheating taken place simultaneously. Such kilns are generally constructed to have a manufacturing capacity of about 20,000 bricks per day. The drawback of this kiln is that there is not permanent roof, so it is not easy to manufacture the bricks in the monsoon season. Hopman kilns. The main difference between the Bull-Stange kiln and Hopman kilns are Hopman kilns is an over the ground structure while Bull-Stange kiln is an underground structure. Hopman kilns have a permanent roof while Bull-Stange kiln do not have, so it former can be used in 12 months a year to manufacture bricks, but later is stopped in the monsoon season. Hopman kilns is generally circular in plan and is constructed over the ground. The whole structure is divided into the 12 chambers and the entire process takes place simultaneously like in Bull-Stange kiln. Chimney wheels. Look at the picture. Next slide. Look at the picture. Bricks Bull-Stange kiln, an oval or circular trench in dag. Number 2, a long exhaust chimney is made. Green bricks are put in one side. Wheel zone is made for firing bricks. Bricks are taken out from other end. Classification of bricks as per common practice. Bricks which are used in construction work are burnt bricks. They are classified into 4 categories on the basis of manufacturing and preparation as given below. Number 1, first class bricks. Number 2, second class bricks. Number 3, third class bricks. Number 4, fourth class bricks. First class bricks. These bricks are table molded of the standard shape. They are burnt in kilns. The surface and the edges of the bricks are sharp, square, smooth and straight. The complete with all the qualities of good bricks. These bricks are used for superior work of permanent nature. Second class brick. These bricks are ground molded and they are burnt in kilns. The surface of these bricks is somewhat rough and shape is also slightly irregular. These bricks may have hair cracks and their edges may not be sharp and uniform. These bricks are commonly used at places where brickwork is to be provided with a coat of plaster. Third class bricks. These bricks are ground molded and they are burnt in clamps. These bricks are not hard and they have a rough surface with irregular and distorted edges. These bricks have give dull sound when struck together. They are used for unimportant and temporary structure at a places where rainfall is not heavy. Fourth class brick. These are overburnt bricks with irregular shape and dark color. These bricks are used as aggregated for concrete in foundation, floors, roads, etc. Because of the fact that the overburnt bricks have a compact structure and hence they are sometimes found to be stronger than even the first class bricks. Classification of bricks as per constituent materials. These are various types of bricks used in masonry: common burnt clay bricks, sand lime bricks, calcium silicate bricks, engineering bricks, concrete bricks, fly ash clay bricks. Common burnt clay bricks. Common burnt clay bricks are formed by pressing in molds. Then these bricks are dried and fired in a kiln. Common burnt clay bricks are used in general work with no special attractive appearance. When these bricks are used in walls, they require plastering and rendering. Sand lime bricks. Sand lime bricks are made by mixing sand, fly ash and lime followed by a chemical process, and during wet mixing the mix is then molded under pressure forming the brick. These bricks can offer advantage over clay bricks such as their color appearance is grey instead of the regular reddish color. Their shape is uniform, present a smoother finish that does not require plastering. These bricks offer excellent strength as a load-bearing member. Engineering bricks. Engineering bricks are bricks manufactured at extremely high temperature, forming a dense and strong brick, allowing the brick to limit strength and water absorption. Engineering bricks offer excellent load-bearing capacity, damp-proof characteristics, and chemical resisting properties. Concrete bricks. Concrete bricks are made from solid concrete. Concrete bricks are usually placed in facades, fences, provided an external aesthetic presence. These bricks can be manufactured to provide different colors as pigmented during its production. Fly ash clay bricks. Fly ash clay bricks are manufactured with clay and fly ash at about 1000 degrees C. Some studies have shown that these bricks tend to fail or produce pop-outs when bricks come into contact with moisture and water, causing the bricks to expand. Test on bricks. To know the quality of bricks, following 7 tests can be performed. In this test, some are performed in laboratory and the rest are on field. Compressive strength test, water absorption test, efflorescence test, hardness test, size, shape and color test, soundness test, structure test. Compressive strength test. This test is done to know compressive strength of brick. It is also called crushing strength of brick. Generally, 5 specimens of bricks are taken to laboratory for testing and tested one by one. In this test, a brick specimen is put on crushing machine and applied pressure till it breaks. The ultimate pressure at which brick is crushed is taken into account. All 5 brick specimens are tested by one and average result is taken at brick's compressive crushing strength. Water absorption state. In this state, bricks are wet in dry condition and let them immersed in fresh water for 24 hours. After 24 hours of immersion, Those are taken out from water and wiped out with cloth. Then brick is wet in wet condition. The difference between weights is the water absorbed by brick. The percentage of water absorption is then calculated. The less water absorbed by brick, the greater is quality. Good quality brick does not absorb more than 20% water of its weight. Effluent stage. Next slide. The presence of alkalis in bricks is harmful and they form a grey or white layer on brick surface. By absorbing moisture, to find out the presence of alkalis in bricks, this test is performed. In this test, a brick is immersed in fresh water for 24 hours and then it is taken out from water and allowed to dry in shade. If the whitish layer is not visible on surface, it proves that absence of alkalis in brick. If the whitish layer visible about 10% of brick surface, then the presence of alkalis is in acceptable range. If that is about 50% of surface, then it is moderate. If the alkalis presence is over 50%, then the brick is severely affected by alkalis. Next, hardness test. In this test, a scratch is made of brick surface with hard thing. If that does not left any impression on brick, then it is good quality brick. Size, shape and color test. In this test, randomly collected 20 bricks are stacked along lengthwise, widthwise and heightwise. Then those are measured to know the variation of sizes as per standard. Bricks are closely viewed to check if its edge and sharp and straight and uniform in shape. A good quality brick should have bright and uniform color throughout. Soundness test. In this test, two bricks are held by both hands and struck with one another. If the bricks given color metallic ringing sound and do not break, then those are good quality bricks. Structure test. In this test, a brick is broken or broken brick is collected and closely observed. If there are any flaws, cracks, holes present on the broken face, and then it is not good quality brick. Source. Okay, thank you.